Hey everyone, this is Baylor, and in this video what I'm going to do is show you, or what we're going to do in this video for part 3 of creating a model view controller from scratch with PHP. We are actually going to go ahead and add layouts to our class, or to our framework. So it's something that Ruby on Rails does that I just think is the coolest thing ever, because it makes it so easy to add like default file structures or HTML structures to your whole site, so you don't have to keep doing the same thing over and over again, like saying get header and get footer like you have to do in WordPress, which isn't a big deal. I really do like it. It's just it does it automatically, which is pretty cool. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna kind of show you the way I want it to work. When we load welcome index, these are the order to load layout files. I'm going to look for a welcome.html.php. Then and that'll be specific. I'm sorry. We're going to look for welcome index. So specific to the controller and the action and the dot format. Then the next thing we're going to look for is just the welcome.html.php. Now these formats would change, like based on .json or .html or .xml. The welcome.html.php, and that's going to look for just controller.format. And then by default, we're just going to look up application.html.php and default for all views. So that's going to be the way I like my view or my layouts to work, because I can do like for a specific layout or for a specific view, I can give it its own style. And then for different controllers, I can give them their own style. And then for the whole application, it can have its own thing. And as you can see here, these have .html, 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 which means if you went to page.json, then we'd load a different view. So let's go ahead and make this work and actually set this up. So what we're going to do here is we're going to create a folder called layouts, and we're just going to create the application.html.php. So this will be like the HTML structure for the whole page, and we'll just say we'll have this variable here. Won't worry about it too terribly much. But then down here, right here, where we're actually going to load stuff, is we're going to put in just content or page content like this. So our framework's going to go through here, and it's going to load this page, and it's going to take whatever we got here and put it in here, right here, where this page content is placed. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go to the router where we're actually loading our view, and we're actually going to load a layout. Now, I've got to look through here a little bit, figure out where I want to put this. It's going to happen right before we load the view, but we might just need to change this. We might just need to say load view. I've done this before. It's been a long time. Like, the way I normally do it is I actually run this file here, or we get all the contents of this file, and yeah, let's just do it that way because it's pretty simple. It's just kind of weird and a little bit annoying. What we're going to do here is we're going to create inside of our libraries a new folder. Actually, let's just do it at the root. Create a new folder called temp. So this will have temporary stuff, and we're actually going to put this file, these files in here. So what we're going to do to make this work is we're going to get the contents of our application.html.php. So we're going to find that. So we're not going to load our views anymore. So what this should do is it removes that. Good. So we need to load the action, or the layout. So remember I showed you the structure I want by default is to look for welcome index, and that's going to be our controller action right here. So what we'll do for that is let's just create a public static function or a function or a method that says get layout. And here we're actually going to pass in our controller, our action, and our format. And we're going to do a few things. We're going to check and see which file exists. We're going to say if the file exists, or let's get our controller action path, and that's going to be equal to, and it's going to be pretty similar to this view path right here. All of them are, so we'll just copy and paste that here. We're going to go to Views, Layouts, and we're actually just going to separate this with a dash now. So we're going to go into our Views, Layouts, Controller, dash Action dot format. So we can just kind of put this in here. So controller dot or dash action dot format dot PHP. And the next one, and we'll pull these down, and this was just going to be controller dot format dot PHP, and we're just going to remove all of the action part, so we just get the controller and the action. And the last one is just going to be application dot format dot PHP, and we can just put application right here. So that gives us our three main types of layouts to load here, and we're just going to see which one actually exists. So we're going to say if file exists at our controller action path, and this one actually is just going to be controller path, and this one's going to be the application path. So if that file exists, then we're going to return our controller path. What I don't want to have like 3 different returns here. I'd rather have the chosen path, kind of. So let's just create a variable chosen, or yeah, the path to use equals null by default, and that's fine because then we're going to make sure that that actually exists. So if this one's found, then the path to use will be equal to our controller action path. Else, if the file exists at our controller path, then we're actually going to use this one. So path to use is going to be equal to controller path. Else, if the file exists at our application path, then our path to use will be equal to our application path. So we kind of make sure find the path to use, and it's kind of a lot going on there, and it's not very easy to read. We could always come down here and do this, and what we're going to do is just return our path to use. So by default, if none of these exist, then we're going to get null. So up here where we get load the layout, we're going to say if not empty, and we're going to say self get layout, and we're going to pass in our controller, our action, and our format. So if we find that layout, then let's actually load that layout. So we'll copy all of this here, and we'll say our file name equals this right here. Because what we're going to do is we're not going to include this file. We're actually going to store it into, we're going to grab all its contents. So if we say file, or we'll just say the layout equals file get contents, and I'm not very good at working with files in PHP. I always have to go back and look it up on php.net, so you can kind of count on me doing that. But I'm just going to make sure that if I echo out my layout, that I get what I want. Cannot use return values with right context. File get contents. Line 61. Not too sure what's going on here. Cannot use return value in right context. Oh, I see. let's just take this. Let's just say the layout path equals right there, and we'll say layout path if it's not empty, and here we'll actually, if it's not empty, then we get that layout path. So if what we've got here in this file get contents is basically all printed out right here, what we got right here, it just grabbed that all the HTML, all the text inside of here. Now what we want to do is we want to replace the page content little variable type thing with the view file. So where we said load view, then we're not going to delete this because we'll use this later on. But what we're going to grab instead is the view path. So let's grab our view path here. So we'll say self. I'm sorry, not self. Function, and we're going to make this static, and we're going to get the view path based on our controller, action, and our format. And what we're going to do essentially is we're just going to copy this right here, and we're going to put it right here, and we're just going to say if the file exists. Oh, we're going to say the path equals null, and we're just going to say if the file exists for our view path, then path equals view path, and at the very bottom we're just going to say return our path. So we're actually able to get this view path, and we'll use it up here. We'll just say if it's not empty, and we'll include our view path. So basically, I'm just trying to make it where I don't have to duplicate all my lines of code here. It's kind of like dry, so I don't repeat myself. Which wouldn't be dry, it's dry, don't repeat yourself. But anyways, basically what we're doing here is we're just extracting what goes on here where we're trying to make sure that file exists. So what we're doing essentially now is we're making sure the file exists, and then over here, because we check the file exists, we're just making sure that we don't get this null value. So over here where we're replacing this, we want to see our view path equals self view path, and we'll say if not empty our view path, then what we're going to do is we're going to say layout equals string replace, and we're going to replace that page content bit with the file get contents of our view path, and we're going to do this inside of our layout variable. A lot going on here. Essentially what we're doing though is we're getting that view path, so we make sure that we can find this view based on the controller, the action, and the format. And we're replacing the text page content that we set inside of our view, because this is where we want our content to go. And we're replacing it with whatever content we find inside of our view path. So if I reload, missing argument 1 for view path. Oh, I didn't put these in here. So controller, action, and format. Reload, and you can see that we got my name is blank. And right here, it actually tried to do PHP echo name. So the reason it did this is because now this is no longer technically a PHP file. It's just like a text file. So what we need to do is we need to actually make this and turn it into an actual PHP file. So what I'm going to do for this is inside of our temp folder, we're actually going to save this layout text over here and include it just like we did before. There's a lot of stuff going on here. It's kind of weird, but it's just the way that it kind of works. So yeah, let's just go ahead and do that real quick. So we're going to figure out how to write to a file. So let's go and grab a PHP file. And I guess I need F open because, I mean, like I said, this isn't something I do very often, and I'm not very good at it, but I need to create a file, and it looks like if I do it with R open for reading only, I need to be able to write and read. With writing, reading, place the point at the beginning file. So R plus should do what I need to do. So let's do that. We'll just say our file equals F open. We're going to open this at our base path, and we're going to go into the temp directory, / and our file name is going to be we're going to say time. So it'll get the current time on the server. I guess it's current time on the server. I'm not sure if it is the server time, but it'll set it up so that we don't have to worry about accidentally getting we don't have to accidentally worry about overwriting another file that's already there. We'll create a unique file, and I don't think it's really possible to have two people load the thing at the exact same millisecond. So this is pretty secure here, and basically we're just going to give it that would probably be fine right here, and just add .php to it, and we're going to give it that R plus here. So what happens is when I reload this, and you can see we gave that time, failed open string, so that didn't create my file. I need to be able to create my file, so maybe fwrite would be more what we're looking for. So if I find it, fwrite. Oh, it's going to be way down here. Right there. Well, not way. Let's check it out. Handle the file. I want to find an example of fwrite. File name is writable. Handle A. So what did A do? I'm really sorry about all this. Okay, so our handle equals F open. So that gave us a error last time. What does A do? Open for writing only places the unit file. Oh, it attempts to create it. Perfect. So they were actually able to just get away with just using A. So let's use that. We'll say A, reload. Now you can see that file was created. Now what I want to do is I want to create my file name variable equals time .php. Now the reason we're doing it like this is because we want to be able to delete this file as soon as we're done. We don't want to leave this file on the server because that would just stack up. So we'll do that by just saying our file name. I'm going to remove that underscore. So and what we'll do here at the end is we're just going to say unlink, and we're going to get that base path, which let's just put that whole thing up here. So I'm going to keep writing it over and over again. Unlink that file name. And if I reload, you can see we only have one file on the server. And that's because that file gets created as soon as it is here, and it gets deleted as soon as this runs. So you really almost, the file just disappears like instantly, which is what we want, because we don't want to just have a stack of all these files that have relatively the exact same thing over and over again. So what we're going to do here is we're going to write to this file. So let's do that fwrite thing up here. So we're just going to say fwrite to our file, and we're going to write out our layout, because up here we have that full layout, and we're going to close that. So we'll say fclose our file. So if we reload, everything still works the same, but the thing is, now we can actually include our file name. So to reload, you can see that we're almost up and going. I mean, we were able to get that whole thing up and going, and we even got our PHP error that says undefined variable name. And you can see it gave us this file name, but the file doesn't exist now. So what we need to do with this is we actually, now that we have that file created, we need to load that layout. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll go ahead and say function, and this will be static, and we're just going to say load layout controller. Do we even need all that because we have that file? I don't even think we do. We just need to get that file name. So we'll put that up here and we'll paste it in here. And we're going to say self load layout file name. So we pass that file name that we got right here into this function. So we get relatively the exact same thing here. You can see this isn't changing very quickly if I reload really fast. You know, it goes off each second. What we're going to do though is we're going to go ahead and take what we had in our load view, where if we have these variables, then we go ahead and get them. So we're just going to say right here, just find all the user variables and create them. So reload, you can see we get my name is Baylor. View the page source, and I didn't think about it, but y'all can't see all this. And we were able to find that we were able to get this text here. So we're able to actually load this whole layout, and it runs it as a PHP file. So any PHP that gets put in here gets run over here. And later on, as this gets more complicated, and we actually try to create like helpers, they'll be able to be run inside of here and still have things applied to them in our actual layout, hopefully. So thanks for watching this video. The next video, we're going to do a few things, and those are going to be like, don't you, like, where we, let's go ahead and make sure this works. I'm sorry, let's just go ahead and say our welcome layout. So this would be like blah, and you can see, okay, this time it only loaded for the welcome controller. And the next thing that we need to do is just make sure that we're actually able to load welcome dash index. So we get this for the welcome index action. And you see that's working. So we know that our layouts are working properly, so we're not limited to using the application layout. Now the last thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link down here. It doesn't have to be a link, but it'll be blue so you can know it's a link when you're watching the later videos. That goes to my github.com/BaylorRay/PHP MVC tutorial. So this will actually, you know, when I'm playing around with this, we'll actually put this in some little paragraph. When you see this, you know that that is the link to my GitHub repository, which is actually not loading because it turned it into, I didn't put this over here, I'm not paying attention. Now it should be purple. Let's get that github.com MVC tutorial. Oh, I see, it's a secure connection. But you probably won't even need that HTTPS because it's probably automatically redirect you. Okay, so thanks for watching this video, and goodbye.